Blog Talk Radio.
The motherfucking saga continues.
Yo, what's up, world? It's badass thuggin' like I usually do, and you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Bless.
What's up with it, y'all? Man, don't change that down. This your player partner, the legendary Cocaine. And you tuned in live to Off the Cuff Radio. Better not touch that down. Well.
Yeah, this is Cassidy, the hustler. And right now, you listening to the Guillotine. Show them the respect they deserve, man. Off the Cut Radio, man. Y'all already know how they doing it, man. I need y'all to stay tuned. They've been doing it for years, so show them the respect they deserve. And you heard it out of bars, mouth. Easy.
Keep it moving like this. Yo, this your boy Rampage. You're not rocking with the best. With Off the Cuff Radio. Classic. History. Fix your face to all you haters. We off the cuff, baby.
What's up, everybody? This your girl, Bonnie Dollars, the Queen of Trap, representing Crenshaw, and you are now tuned in with Off the Cuff Radio. What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the livest show on Friday nights, Off the Cuff Radio, and I'm live from the 704.
All right. Episode 674, live and direct. I'm your host, King Eric, the Media Assassin, and this show is sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Screwball Radio, Da Vinci Clothing. Got my host, T-Max, with the facts on the line. What's happening, partner?
What it do, y'all? Another fantastic Super Sunday on the freshest frequency on the internet. It is so incredible. Off the Cuff Radio. Shout out to our co-host, still out of Sandman, Lady Chinchilla, and of course, DJ Sincere, Dirty Basement Radio up in New York City. We are ready to rock. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have, in a long line of death row lineages, King, we've been so honored to have so many, Kenya Ware, Cocaine, The Realist, Mob James, the list goes on and on. Shout out to Derek CPT and B from Compton who helped make this happen. We love y'all and appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. This gentleman we have tonight here is one of the most integral, interesting, outright hilariously funny, always candid and honest individuals out there from that death row tree. The man has a story that is incredible, that is absolutely engaging and sensational, and he's been on so many other outlets and also has his own podcast, Bomb First. Without further ado, California's finest, Mr. Reggie Wright Jr. Welcome.
Respect, Off the Cuff Radio.
What's going on with you?
Oh man,
Good, man.
up here checking out, Sunday night football, and then was honored to be invited to come on and share some time with you guys.
Man, look, you're a living legend, man, and we appreciate you so much coming on the show, man. I mean, your name speaks volumes, and it resonates so much in all circles of everything, man. One thing about you is that you're going to entertain, you're going to have a story, and most importantly, you're always going to be upfront about it. Welcome. And shout out to B, and Derek once again. Let's get to it. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Reggie Wright. I'm an ex-police officer that jumped on both sides of the fence, I always say. But I jumped over and got into the music business by working, being honored to, come in and work with my boy, a childhood friend, Suge Knight. And he brought me on as a security director for his company in the heyday. And then in the sliding days, I guess you would call it. I kind of ran the company when he went to prison, and tried just to keep the boat afloat. And I think I did that. And he came home, and then the rest is history.
Understood. You know, while the death row story is very intricate, it is very diverse, it is very detailed. You also have a very detailed story yourself in terms of how you came up individually. Obviously, your father was a law enforcement, officer as well. Tell us a little bit about, where you came up from in California, where you grew up at.
Okay, yeah. Originally from the Imperial Courts housing projects, which is in Watts. My parents both migrated. My mother was from Topeka, Kansas, and my father was from New Orleans, Louisiana. And so a lot of people were migrating to the housing projects in the Watts area in the 60s. And their parents was the ones that did that. And they met, and I was a product of that. But in the early 70s, we was fortunate to be like the Jeffersons in our mind and move on up. And we move on up
Right.
to the city of Compton. We went to Compton, exactly. So we went to Compton and grew up in that area all the way in till I graduated from high school, even though I didn't graduate from a Compton Unified School District. There was a school district right next to it, Linwood. Graduated from Linwood High School. So I met Suge. Well, actually, I met Suge in Compton. Been knowing Suge since about the second or third grade. People like Mob James, all the guys that you hear about from the Death Row area. We all grew up in the mob area from like 72 until, well, I guess, 84. That was the year I graduated from high school. And went on to college and went into law enforcement. That was my father. He was doing. And I was always a kid that was fortunate enough to have a two-parent home growing up. And my father was always my hero, my childhood hero. He was working in law enforcement, and I wanted to be like Pops. And I did that for a minute. Got to watch what you wish for. I think I did. I think I did like Pops, but I wasn't like Pops. And I was different, and my mentality was different. I love money a little bit too more than helping people. And that's when I started my own security company and was able to start working for Death Row Records.
We're going to get into that later on. Oh, okay, go ahead, King. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you, and coming up to that time as a police officer, you know how during that period, black people, they have the stigma amongst police and everything. How were you able to maintain respect, considering that not only hip hop was anti-police, but black people, and considering what's going on, was anti-police?
To be honest, I wouldn't agree with you about the anti-police. They were anti-dirty cops, or cops that was mistreating people. Cops in the 80s and 90s, they surely had a little bit of respect because people just wanted to be respected, treated with respect. After the Rodney King stuff and all of that is when all the disrespect started happening, when people were getting whooped on and the police abuse and all of that was brought to the forefront. I'm not saying it wasn't going on in the 70s, but it was brought to the forefront in the late 80s and the 90s. And that's when people really started turning on the police. But I was fortunate enough because I had a father that knew how to deal with people, because he, like I said, he was brought up in the housing projects and all of that. And so he didn't have a silver spoon, or, he was used to being around people that was in poverty or quote unquote not from the right side of the fence or whatever. And so he knew how to treat people. And so I kind of learned that and saw that. I didn't take that on as much as I would have liked to, now being an older man, when I was younger, but he stayed on my ass about being that way.
Understood. And we're going to get into that later on, Reggie. Not you specifically, but when we think about Los Angeles Police Department, there's a lot of history, from the Rampart scandal to the SIS. Shout out to Lou Diamond Phillips and Scott Glenn. They did a movie, Extreme Justice, if you remember that. that was
Okay.
loosely based on the
Yeah.
SIS Special Investigative Section for our audience that may not be familiar. Rafael Perez with the Rampart scandal with Training Day, which Denzel's character Alonzo Harris was based on. And of course, you coming up and watch. Shout out to Grape Street, 7th Street. Shout out to Glasses Malone, Ivory, Jordan Downs, Imperial Courts, Nickerson Gardens,
Bounty Hunters. Yeah.
Bounty Hunters, man. I mean, 7th Street Crip. You know what I'm saying? Grape Street Crip.
Yeah.
One thing
PJ
about
Watts.
it was PJ Watts.
Mona Park. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So shout out to all of them in the areas and what they went through. But it was something along that lines I was going to touch on, but I done forgot, so I'll let you go ahead and keep going.
No. Go ahead. If you got a thought,
No, I forgot.
Please.
I forgot it was
Okay.
something that your partner had said that I wanted to address, but I forgot. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, just, if it comes to you, just come in with it.
Definitely.
One thing about it, Watts has always been known in LA County as one of the the hoodest of the hood, like the most dangerous.
Yeah, that's South Central. Yeah, that whole South Central area. I just want to make for the record, and that's what I wanted to say, was I worked Compton PD, which is a lot different than LA.
Gotcha.
Compton was kind of, it was a way smaller department. LAPD had like 10,000, where Compton only had like 200. And LAPD were probably 90% white, where Compton was 50-50. So it's a big difference in how you police when you have a lot more of your people versus a lot more of them.
Understood.
Gotcha.
When you look at it, Reggie, coming up, and you talked about how your dad was in the hood and interacted with people, so he had an innate sense of people skills that are imperative in reference to community interaction.
Correct.
How important is it in the community for people to see those that look like them and know that despite the stigmas and the mistakes and misgivings about law enforcement, that it is to protect and serve, not punish and enslave?
Correct. That's the main time. But I'll be honest. There's some black cops that was just as bad as white or Mexican cops.
Right.
And I think it's just about, number one, I think it really needed the age requirement need to be higher.
Gotcha.
Because luckily my father, when he became a cop, he was 30 years of age. When I became a cop, I was 19, 20.
Right.
Not enough life experience. You know what I'm saying? To be in those positions of learning how to talk and deal and interact with people. You just don't have it. No matter how smart you are, how much training, how much they put into you. I tell you, the things that I do or have done in the age of 20, and I look back now as a 50-year-old man, 50-something-year-old man, I'll be like, wow, how did I do that? I hate that I was that type of a person.
Especially around that stage of the 70s and the 80s, it was like a jungle out there.
Correct. Yeah.
When we think about Compton in LA, Reggie, Ice Cube, NWA were the ones that really brought it to the forefront from the
Shout
West
out
Coast.
Eazy-E, NWA, yes.
Man, look, Tragnu, Kelly Park, man,
And shout out Alonzo Williams. Alonzo Williams is the one that really I give a lot of credit to, because he the one gave them a voice, gave them their first chance, so they can blow up.
We had Lonzo on the show last year, man. Shout out to Lonzo, man. We had him on the show last year. Yeah, man. Great guy. The stories, man. The stories we got from him about those days were phenomenal. Man, when you look at the time, Reggie, of what was going on, what did you learn when you got off the porch of policing in terms of what goes on in the streets? Because there's always this conception that for a lot of people, that for Black people, we're just scandalous savages who have no moral compass, and we just break the law just because. But a lot of people do not understand the institutional racism, discrimination, poverty, and lack of educational outlets to resources that contribute to the violence in the hood. What did you see coming in about how those deprivations can cripple a community and its inhabitants?
No, I can tell you're a very educated brother because you broke that down very well, and you do learn that. You learn that you go in because they brainwash you to the fact that it's us against them, and if
Right.
you wasn't brought up around that, I can see how a lot of the officers that wasn't brought up in the community and didn't have a father like I did would be thinking that, hey, all these motherfuckers are bad people. Everybody
Right,
is bad.
right,
And,
right.
and it's us against them, man. And you know, and so it takes a while for you to learn that, hey, yeah, there's 2,000 or 3,000 bad people among that 100,000. But there's 100,000 people. And there's only 2,000 or 3,000 people that you come in contact that are, might need to be reminded that there's law and stuff like that every now and then. But when you generalize the whole community based on what a few bad apples in a barrel are, and you're treating everybody like you treat those people that are the spoiled or the bad apples, you just got to learn that most of these people that commit the crimes, even the ones that have committed crime, don't want to be in that situation. It's just the hand that they were dealt, the way that they learned or was brought up, and just didn't know any better. I swear, until Oprah Winfrey shows and Dr. Phil shows and TV shows like that, the things that I used to grow up with and saw, I didn't know I was a bad person and was doing things wrong until I started watching TV shows like that, like cheating on your wife and having this and stuff like that going on. Because you saw it, you grew up around it, you thought it was acceptable. And it's not until you get brought up and things get brought to your attention. I don't know if it comes with age or what. I just think it comes from exposure that a lot of people did things that didn't even know it was wrong. And
that's
wild.
That's the nature of the beast right there, man. It's like when the blind leading the blind, people are just looking for comfort, whether it be a male figure or whether it be a parental figure. So they lead to either gangs or form of crime to fulfill those vices.
And you didn't even know that it was another way of doing it or that is not the right way. You just thought it was normal.
Yeah, and it's crazy
product of the environment.
Product of the environment.
When you say that, Reggie, about the ethos of the department was us against them, once again referencing the OJ documentary with Daryl Gates, in that situation of how he basically invented what would be known nationwide as SWAT. And when you're looking at what was going on, but the way that he was, and we don't want to give it too much air, but we also want to acknowledge that he set the precedent that would be the inflammatory treatment of minorities in Los Angeles. And then it obviously spread into Compton because this was how police work was considered to be in terms of going in the hood, beating everything down to let them know, like, we in charge.
For the 80s and the 90s. But we've been having problems with, I mean, I'm up here right now rewatching all the of Godfather Harlem. You look at that shit been going on for a while. How the white cops were treating the blacks and all that. So it's been going on. So we can't just blame it on Daryl Gates. It was long before Daryl Gates came around that law or the white and the black or law enforcement treating black community or the brown community different. That's been going on. But Daryl Gates for what? Let's just say the rock area, the rock cocaine area. He had a heavy hand, and it was and you got to remember his racial or his the the percentage that were white versus the percentage that were black officers that was on the department. It was a high percentage. And I was looking at they had a police academy graduation yesterday or Friday from the city of LAPD. They graduated about 50 cops or whatever. I saw one black cop in that. Now it's a lot of Browns. They hired a lot of Mexicans, but I just saw one black cop in that academy class graduate. And it could be because, like you said, they don't want to be it. They don't want to go into that profession. I wouldn't advise my son to go in that profession right now, to be honest. But it's also, but I know there's a lot of guys that would want their kids to be in it. And I'm just wondering, why isn't there more black cops? You know, the city is still 20%. You got a black mayor, you got a lot of black councils. Why is there only one black cop in that graduating class?
Representation, man. I think King Reggie.
Guys, we got to say a big shout out to Mob James. He tapped in on us. He listened to the show right now.
Oh, okay.
What up,
yeah, shout out, Jay.
Yeah, man. But representation matters, Reggie, and you're absolutely right. Because when we look at how people interact, they're going to be more affable with those that are familiar to them, whether you're looking at education, whether you're looking at entertainment, sports. People are going to find the kinship with those they feel resemble them and their sensibilities. From you in law enforcement, when you were, on the beat in Compton, this is going into the 80s. Well, crack had hit in the 84 in earnest. Correct. So we're going a couple of years. So there's a few years in when you got in. What was the streets of Compton like in terms of the dangers of it? That would ultimately, the crack era, that would ultimately influence and infuse the West Coast music culture in terms of talking about it?
Well, the entourages, they're talking about it and the exposure, but it was mainly the game bangers was doing it because of the entourages, because it was needed. I am not one to say that you're supposed to be walking around with a bunch of police officers or SWAT guys, military guys or anything like that. For what they were doing, the gang members or the gang association was needed to help the gangster rappers get to where they go, because if not, they would not have been able to go to other cities and travel and all that. They would have just been like a sugar-free, only known on the West Coast. A regional artist. They would not have been able to go to the South and travel and do shows and network out there, because you can't go, just with a couple of 3 or 4 of your homeboys and go into other territories. It's just not wise. And so that's what I got from the gang members being involved in the rap music. Why I think the gangs took off as they did, because now you got a lot of money on the streets. But it was mainly because the weapons, you always hear my boy Mob James talking about a pistol, having a pistol. And he used the word pistol, always laugh. And he'll say, I have my pistol. Because when he started off, that's what they had, little 38s and all of that.
Then it kind of got a little bit bigger after that. AKs,
and they started making, and they were able to go because of the money.
Yeah.
No gun changed. And so,
man,
so that's what I saw from. Yeah.
When you saw, and in terms of where you would transition into, where because you, Suge, and Mob all grew up together. So as you were moving in law enforcement, obviously there was a pivot that you made that ultimately you would change a trajectory, because you come to death row ultimately, Reggie. You were part and still are part of an unbelievable history with 1,000,001 stories and like 2 million more that ain't been told. So how did that happen in terms of from your time being an officer to where it would pivot into more of the musical aspect and security and this, that, and the other?
Yeah, it just happened for me being young, and mainly I had an accident where I knew I needed to start another profession because I had an accident and messed up my ankle pretty bad, and I knew I couldn't do the law enforcement job. I wasn't going to be able to continue in that profession any longer with the ankle that I had. But the main reason was because of the atmosphere. I love the stuff. You remember there was a TV show that was called The Jerk, where the girls say, "I want to miss the stuff." It was the women that you were meeting, the sitting on the 50-yard lines of the football games, the flying first class or the traveling. It was just a lot of stuff that I would have never experienced in life that I got a chance to experience because of Death Row Records and Suge Knight. Yeah.
And what year exactly did you officially become a part of the team?
1994.
Oh wow! So when we look at that time, Reggie, because as we knew it in earnest, Death Row in 1992 was from Deep Cover with Dre and Snoop to the Chronic in 92. So Death Row.
Yeah, that was more James in them time. Mob James in them time. K Dub and time, but I didn't come until the murder was the case. Right after the reason, and the only reason I probably got brought around was because of the lawsuit. From the Kelly Jamerson, not the Jamerson situation, the guy, from the Snoop murder case.
Philip Waldemar.
When they realized, the Philip, that's when they realized that you needed, we might need some professional people to, even just to justify what had happened. Because when you start making so much money, the liability kicks in the part of a company where you got to protect your access.
Absolutely.
And not saying that the homeboy security staff that James and them had set up wasn't able to do a better job or probably did do a better job than what Reggie and his guys did. But in a courtroom and the liability, it was just, you cover yourself better as a company.
And this is why we wanted you on the show too, Reggie, because your experience from law enforcement and understanding bonded and insured in terms of security, because when we look at what's going on in hip hop over the past 15 plus years, with a lot of these rappers getting into a lot of these conflicts and people getting killed behind this is important for our listeners to understand why it's important to have the right people around to protect you, because security at its paramount importance is to de-escalate situations. It is to see the problems before they become a problem.
And if be a great witness. That's what I always teach. I always tell you always maybe hear me say, my guys not armed assassins. We wasn't there to be armed assassins. We're supposed to have been there to be great witnesses.
Right.
And to your point, de-escalate situations if you could.
Right. Shout out to Maryland Sniper 386. We see you in the comments. Salute to you. Thank you for joining in with us. We appreciate you. Okay, Reggie. So basically in 94, Death Row is in full tilt with it. I mean, they kicking butt. It. I mean, they are big.
Got everything on MASH.
Yeah.
The streets on MASH, radio on MASH, video on MASH. I mean,
they could miss. They could miss. They could miss. 94, 95, 96 could miss.
When you looked at from your time on the street as an officer, and you would see, especially in Compton, so you knew a lot of those rappers or knew of them like MC8, King T, all of DJ Quick, to be honest, in fairness, and I hear you, and I'm sorry for cutting you off.
but
No.
you didn't see the
Please, go ahead.
rappers. You didn't know the
Okay,
rappers.
got you.
You knew the entourages. You knew the entourage. I didn't know no fucking Dre. I didn't know, but I knew the guys that the James and all of them. The one, well, I didn't know them. I didn't.
Right.
But you pretty much knew the entourage. You didn't know Quick. You just knew his boy Don Zelli and people that was Tony Lane and stuff like that. Yeah. I just want to clear up the perception that because these rappers didn't hang in the hood like that. It was mainly the entourages that you knew.
And I wasn't trying to imply or insinuate anything, but thank you for clearing that up. And also, you made a great point because, like you said, a lot of the rappers weren't in the hood like that, and I think that's what a lot of people. And we're not trying to throw shade when we say that,
and they shouldn't be. Yeah, they shouldn't be.
Right, but a lot of people will always say, "Man, they be in the hood," and we've done this show for a while. We talk to people on air and off air about what really be going on in the hood, and they'll tell us like, you don't see such and such name omitted, from being out there like that. When you got into the security part of it, Reggie, what did you? Because what you said about the homeboy security is important of what not to do. You don't hire people for a job because you know them. You want people because they're qualified and they know how to handle the situation when the situation jumps off.
Well, I think you need both. You got to have guys around you that you trust.
Right,
you got to have those.
Understood.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, but you don't want people that you're just bringing in who do not understand what it entails in terms of the duty, and that's what I was trying to articulate.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, but when you learned, but understanding you have, that you're bringing in people that are responsible for people worth millions of dollars and more. What was always the conversation you would have with prospective employees about what it entailed?
I didn't like Hollywood guys. I had Hollywood guys. I found out, but if you notice, who ever heard of Reggie Wright until about a 2009, 2010, or whatever, or when the crackers started making allegations about being involved in all that? It took a while to find pictures of Reggie Wright with any of these guys. I hated guys taking pictures and always in picture shots and stuff like that. So that was my whole thing. To the do's and the don'ts, hanging out, smoking weed, and trying to drink with them, trying to be one of the homies. They had homies for that. Be on point.
Right.
Be professional. Stop trying to be the friend. They didn't need us to be their friends or anything like that. They need you to watch out for them and to try to de-escalate a situation if it comes up, and you be the one, because you're going to be the one that I wouldn't want any of them to go to court testifying of something to happen. But I expected my guys to be the ones to go and do that if need be.
Exactly. When you all got, okay, go ahead, King, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I know for sure being around that time period where those guys was really doing it like that, I know every day was like chaos, like kill or be killed every day, man.
You felt that, but I'll be honest, it was very, very few of those situations, but the potential was always there to be there. A lot of the stuff that happened was them bringing it on themselves, where you hear the red room situations and stuff like that. They were creating situations like that, where it wasn't like people very rarely came up to them initiating stuff with them. There were situations like that, but that was very far in between. But you always had to be on point or thinking the possibility of it happening. Yes.
Absolutely. When you all really got fully immersed in it in terms of understanding it, what did you all learn in reference of a celebrity's life, the day-to-day activities, and learning about them as people? Because for us on the outside, we just saw the star-studded glow of celebrity, but we didn't necessarily. And this is before social media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, correct.
So the only time we really had any interaction or even knowing was shout out to the old Source magazine, Dave Mays, John Schechter, all of them, of course. Double XL will come later. Shout out Elliot Wilson, all of them. So that was our we only knew about the
Correct.
journalism
And that was a
part of
month
it in
later.
terms of what we read.
And that was a month
Yeah, that
after
was
it happened,
later.
right? A month later.
Yeah.
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 What was it like to just be around them, about being around like Snoop, Pac, Suge, and just, of course, shout out to Kenya, our big sister. We love her dearly.
Yeah.
What was it like just being around them as people?
Well, you didn't. You looked at them as normal or whatever. You had your own opinions about them. I didn't. I always say I didn't realize or respect what I was around until after I wasn't around it. It was like a girl. You don't miss the water in the well until it goes dry. In some situation like that, then you respect it. I'll be honest. I didn't respect the legacy or what I was around. Didn't appreciate or didn't understand what I was around. What was going on in real time.
Coming into it, what did you expect once you in terms of coming into it, what did you expect?
I was probably more like a fan, like most that was like, okay, this is going to be nice. It's going to be nice to go to the clubs and to go out to the concerts and stuff like that, and to travel and stuff like that. But then I hated travel. I hated it. And once I got in it, I hated it. Well, you're going to New York. Oh, we gotta go to New York. Yeah. And then it became like, oh shit, we going where? We gotta do what? Hated it.
Yeah,
and
life
then,
of a.
on top of that, and then on top of that, you're also dealing with the egos. Like, how were you able to maintain and deal with all those egos and with having a level head?
I'll be honest, I didn't have that problem because I was kind of like next to Suge, and so guys kind of gave you a little bit extra more respect because they kind of they always wanted something or needed something, and when they know you kind of had a little influence over Suge, they didn't want to rock that boat, and so maybe Snoop and maybe Tupac didn't give a fuck like that, but all the other ones appeared to be. And then Snoop and Tupac, they were just appreciative because they just wanted shit to roll. They just wanted to make sure they had their security and that they, it was just like, okay, we good. They just wanted to make sure everything was working because they were really the ones getting catered to and pampered.
When we think about that time, Reggie, Death Row was a juggernaut that no matter what negative press came, no matter what the naysayers said, the influence and the impact on music history was immense and undeniable. But there was also, but there was still a lot of issues that went on. You as being part of it, what parts would you like to clarify to tell our audience in reference to, was it really as crazy as everybody said it was, or was a lot of that embellished? I mean, what would you like to clear up to our audience in reference to what was really going on? And, because a lot of people think that at its peak, it was just lawless anarchy. And it was like people just getting whooped, niggas just getting beat up all the time.
Yeah, that's very over exaggerated. But okay, I'll let those records stand because I will have to go down each situation to address it, and which, if you know anything about me, I probably don't touch much on a lot of one bomb first. Right. But the one thing is, if anybody know anything about Reggie and Suge relationship in 2025, it's not great at all.
Understood.
It's not
we
great
know.
at
we
all.
know.
Okay.
We know.
But I gotta say a but to it.
Right.
But what people think about Suge as far as beating them and stealing from him money from them, that was not Suge Knight.
Understood.
The homies might have got gypped a little bit. They might have deserved or felt or should have been entitled to be a little bit better because they were putting their lives on the line and stuff like that. But as an artist, for what an artist was supposed to get, I believe, in my opinion, from seeing what I know was spent, how the music game go, and all of that, everybody was always in unrecouped status.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe everybody, and so that's the misconception about Suge that I think a lot of people get, that he beat them all the money. I didn't see it.
Shout out to Kenya Ware.
Hey, I say,
go
which
ahead,
is
King,
crazy.
go ahead.
I don't think people understand the business aspect, because a lot of people think actually the artist supposed to make more than the boss. There's a lot that goes in it.
And shit, I remember Suge telling Tupac one time, he was like, "Suge, you need to stop trying to keep up with me. So I got money coming in from here, and here. You just got money coming in from this one way, you know?"
Right. And on that one element of it, Reggie, we appreciate you clarifying that. Shout out to Kenya, because she said the same thing when we had her on some years back, that everything was always square biz, you know, and everybody got what they were supposed to get.
Let me say this.
Okay.
But they didn't know. The reason why they didn't know, because Death Row messed up. Now, their biggest mistake, y'all know anything about me, was he didn't have a royalty department where people want to know.
You just told us something we didn't know. Please elaborate.
Did not have a royalty department. It was just like everybody was just getting advanced, he was just paying for everything. That's why everything was in Suge's name. It wasn't shit in Suge's name. Everything was in Death Row name. And so Death Row would just, buy you stuff and put stuff in their name. And you want a car? Okay, here's a car. You want a penthouse? Here's a penthouse. You need how much to live? You need $50,000 investment? Here's $50,000 investment. Or $10,000 or $15,000, whatever your worth was.
Right.
And so, you need studio time? Okay, go ahead. You got studio time this day. And that was the problem, where it wasn't like a normal record label where they would be like, here's $150,000, bring us an album back.
Right.
It was, you with us, we're going to make an album on you. We're going to have this artist come in and do this. We're going to, don't worry about $100,000 beat from Dre. Dre gonna be there to do a beat for you, you know. Don't worry about Quick. Right. Quick costs $50,000. Now Quick will be in there. You're gonna do some work with Quick this day, and so that's where it gets creepy, and that's why a lot of people think they got beat. But you listen to the people that said they got beat.
Right.
What album did they put out on Death Row?
Hey, I mean, you know more about this than us, and I'm laughing. And I'm laughing, Reggie, because the level of honesty that you gave. I mean, but it's real though, because when you're looking at what was there at the time, I mean, Dre was literally just dropping heat all over the place. Quick would come later. I mean, but man, imagine Daz. We can't forget Daz.
He grew up to be
I mean,
Chuck from Above the Law, 187 was around doing so. He had Devontae Swain from Jodeci doing beats for R&B people. I
mean, this, just as an artist, what did that mean for just being an artist there, to know that you had access to all of this talent at 24 hours a day, literally? What was that like?
I mean, I don't know, because I was never an artist, but I just looking from the business side and now understanding it now, I get what people want to know. Okay, you want to see it black and white. Okay, I spent this much, I made this much, this is what I'm supposed to get. But so I get where they get mad and disappointed.
Right.
But I just know that but I also know what he was just giving out and what he was spending. I know the limos that used to sit in front of people's houses 24/7 every day. I know the security costs for the ones that had security. I know the one living fucking never had an album out, living in a condo in Brentwood at the time, living on Wilshire and all of that, on the Wilshire corridor, driving around in Lexuses and Mercedes and all of that. And you never did an album for me.
It's crazy, Reggie. It's crazy, Reggie, because and one thing about this show, we always want to be as actually accurate as we can. We're never going to make any crazy ass statements, anything talking out of our ass, just trying to sensationalize. Snoop, the infamous 1998 Source magazine issue where he's on the cover, I believe it was May 98. And he was talking about how he didn't get his money. And this had gone back to October of the previous year, 97. So this is where we have to put this in context of where there were always those inquiries. We didn't really know about it until Snoop said something at the time about, he said, that they hadn't paid me since November.
That was true. Well, let me just throw one thing out just to shut up Snoop.
Please do. Please do.
Snoop, an album called Doggy Style, right?
Yes, sir.
At that time in the 90s, let's say it sold 5 million records, right?
Right.
Michael Jackson told y'all, at his best, he made $1.20 a record. $1 to $1.20 a record.
Right.
That gives Snoop $1 a record. He sold $5 million.
$5 million.
Okay. He had a murder case for attorneys and all of that, and a judgment that cost $4.5 million.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
He lived in a house, had a penthouse, and then he had a stash, another house over in Eagle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
The time he was on death row.
Yes, sir.
He drove around. He was ushered. He had a limo driver that drove him around in a Rolls Royce.
Yes, sir.
He had 2 security guards every day with him.
Mm-hmm.
He had studio time.
Mm-hmm.
And while on death row, he probably had 10 videos.
Yeah.
That right there is about $25 million.
Absolutely.
We got to say, okay, he sold 5 million records. Doggy Father later did another 3 million. So he had 8 million records.
Right.
His best album is 8 million. I mean, if we giving him Michael Jackson money, he was only supposed to make $8 million. You pay
Reggie,
50% of your videos.
Right.
You pay for your studio time.
Mm-hmm.
You pay for your limos. You pay for your security bill. All that comes out of his 8 million.
Yeah. And Reggie,
man.
Reggie, we got to say thank you for breaking that down numerically, because I don't think anybody had really looked at it the way you had just broke that down beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm
leaving out stuff like shows. If you do music shows, I'm leaving out stuff like that. But you get that. That's your management to do that. So I'm not saying, so that's another side of the thing. I'm leaving out publishing money and stuff like that. You get a little bit of that, but it's not. My point is, it's still not that much money. That how can you be cheated? Snoop signed off. I personally did this deal when he left to go to Master P.
Okay.
He signed out, cleared up all records, everything, and his parting gift was $1 million. And signed off on everything, and we assigned his rights to Master P. Oh, well, Priority Records, to be honest.
Okay, because the story, because if this is an exclusive, we're honored to have gotten this, if this has never been disclosed publicly. What we had understood initially from the deal, Reggie, was that Master P had paid $3 million for Snoop's contract. So what is
it? Was 4.5. It was $4.5 million, and it came from Priority Records. However, Priority and Master P worked it out, I can't say. Sir. But it was $4.5 million, and Suge got a 5% or 7% override on those last 3. That's why he called his last album with Master P. The last meal.
Because
it wasn't towards. It was towards Suge. He was like, "This is the last time you're gonna need off for me," because Suge was no longer getting the override on him.
Right, and Suge did talk about this in a later interview where he did say, where Snoop was talking about, you talking about I ain't gonna eat off for you no more, but Suge Knight's gonna be eating very well off for you, at least for 4 or 5 more albums.
It was only 3, but yeah.
Okay, got you. But this is amazing with this information because you have given so much breakdown of how contracts are structured that artists today do not understand in terms of where your money goes. When you talked about what Michael Jackson did with Thriller, which is still the highest selling album all time, when you're looking at the standards of it, and the elements of artists and what they make, usually $1 to $2. I mean, if you get $2 off an album, I mean, you balling. Oh my God, you balling.
The highest I heard back then. Now they make it more like that. E40 would be sitting over here laughing at you. But think of what E40 was doing. You know, he didn't have all that exposure like he did. E40 was, I mean, one of my favorite artists.
But he was independent with Jive. He was independent when he signed.
So they'll laugh. They'll be like, nigga, what you talking about? You know, I made $5, $6. You know, but I'm just saying, but you also put up most. Master P always brag on his deal. Always brag on his deal, the 80-20. He always say, yeah, I got 80% of the money and I gave the distributor 20%.
Right.
Where Master P fails to tell you and say, but he had to pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
He had to pay for everything. And then he paid 20%. So he really didn't make 80% because he had to upfront a lot of money upfront. This is Suge deal. Suge had a 50-50 deal with Interscope. 50-50. Right. You pay for everything. We split 50%. Which deal is better? I don't know. I can't say. But I'd rather use, I listen to Magic Johnson and Steve Harvey and all of them talk, and they always use a term called OPM. They always say, think of OPM, y'all. And you say, what the hell is OPM? What that mean? It's called other people's money.
People's money.
Other OPM. And so that's how Look Suge deal was. OPM. You put up everything and pay for everything, and then we'll split the 50%. You get 50%, I get 50% of what's left over. Which deal is better? I don't know.
You know, Reggie, that's wild because rest in peace to Ray Stevenson. He did a movie called Kill the Irishman that was based on Danny Green. And there was a dialogue between him and another character in the movie, and they said, you know, always basically it amounted to what you just said. You always use other people's money, never use yours.
All the rich guys that I know, that's what they say.
Yeah, it's a good businessman. What they said, what was it? A good businessman never uses his own money.
Correct.
When you think about that,
I was going to say this too, so we going into 95, and Tupac gets released from prison. Now, do you sense there's an energy shift amongst the team?
Not at the time. Definitely now after hearing all the interviews, but it eventually got there. You can see the jealousy. Things happened with the Dog Pound, their album. If y'all don't remember, the Dog Pound album was out in 95 and it was doing good. You normally back in the day you used to work 3 singles off of an album. Their album got stopped at 2 singles. And so you was seeing a lot of the you saw people being jealous, but what can you say? Tupac was hitting home runs. What you want? People hitting singles and doubles? Or it's kind of hard when you're on a team you jump up and down when somebody hit a single or double. But when motherfucker hit a home run, you throw softball seeds on them and stuff. You know, man. Baseball for you. And Tupac was hitting home runs. So
we saw Sandman right in the chat. What up, Sandman? Great to see you here with us. Thank you. You know, when you think about that time, Reggie, when Pac came in, as King said, you know, Pac had already, you know, from 1991 with his first album, Tupacalypse Now, which was unbelievable. I remember the first time I saw it when I was a youngin', I was like, yo, who is this dude? First video I saw was Trapped. And then, of course, Strictly for My Niggas drops in 1992, 93. And this is pretty much when he's really beginning to get ground. Like, and of course, we can't even forget about when he did Juice in 92 as the actor. So we're like, this dude is like really beginning to come up. I mean, this guy was a backup dancer for.
But would you put him on top of Snoop yet? Would you put him on top of Snoop yet?
What I put during then?
I think personally, the Janet Jackson movie kind of catapulted his star power a little bit.
That's a good point. Yeah, Polar Justice.
Snoop was still the guy, but musically, Snoop was still the guy.
That's my point. That's my argument with a lot of people. I don't think Pac jumped over Snoop until 96. Me and Against the World gave him a run. All Eyes on Me took him over the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the cultural comparisons of impact, and you're absolutely right, Reggie. Because
but to your partner's point, that movie stuff did make Pac a superstar.
Yeah, but the thing when we look at that transition, because when we look at that era of the early 90s, this is when we saw a lot of rappers who were beginning to transition into it.
Yeah.
When we saw, we saw Queen Latifah in Jungle Fever. We saw Will
Ice
Smith.
Cube.
Yeah, Ice Cube, Ice-T. All of them, that was that wave. LL Cool J had already done movies by then. Yeah. So we were already seeing this in motion to where the transitions were coming, where hip-hop was becoming more ubiquitous in not only music but also movies as well. Pac's raw presence in Juice, because we still had not seen the best of him yet. Snoop, but then you figure 1992, the summer with the deep cover, and Dre and him come together, and we like, yo, who this dude from Long Beach?
And then like, Doggy Style. And we all forget Doggy Style beat Garth Brooks out in American Music in 95.
That album was hotter than Fish News. Everybody, I remember the rollout. It felt like a movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, it did come out with that Murder Was the Case video. That was almost like a Thriller. That was on a Thriller level, a ghetto version of Thriller.
Man, shout out to Chris the Glove Taylor. We had him on the show last year, a couple years ago.
Chris.
He talked about it. Yeah, he talked about when he did the work on for y'all. When you look at that time, Reggie, in terms of how album rollouts were, for what it was for Snoop, what it was for Pac, it was almost theater in terms of the promotional runs that would get the buildup for these projects. What was that like to watch it from that time, seeing how the machine will work in terms of brainstorming? All right, how are we going to promote this album? How are we going to do this video, this, that, and the other? How are we going to release the singles?
If I'm keeping it real, I wasn't involved 95, 94. I can only speak after 97. But just saying that, it was a format that was done. And that was, which are the 3 best songs? And we're going to radio, and we're going to do a video to them. And we're going to blow them up on the box. You remember the box? BET.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Shout out Uncle Ralph. Shout out Uncle Ralph.
And MTV, we're going to blow it up. We're going to pay, we're going to spend $100,000 on the box, just playing that every day. We're going to go to college radio and have them beating it up. And we're going to get in all the trades, the magazines, the BRE, Sidney Miller. We're going to do all of this stuff, Double XL, of course, Dave Mays and Source, and then later on Vibe. But that was the whole plan, and it was an easy formula. But the main thing was the clubs and the DJ, the mixed DJs and the club DJs. Make sure they got the vinyl. Make sure they got what they needed, and that's why Suge was big and instrumental on the street teams. I know a lot of people give Ruff, the guy from Ruff, Kevin Ruffin, I think his name was David, the Ruffin dude, the white dude that had Loud Records. They give him a lot of credit for the street.
Steve Rifkin.
They give him a lot of credit for the street team, but Suge Knight took that street team program to a different level of people standing outside the nightclubs, passing out flyers, posting up, coming out of the clubs and seeing posters. This is what the album's coming out. Going into mom and pop stores, making sure they got enough merchandise and everything so they can build nice displays and stuff in the stores. So everybody know that those albums are coming out. And that was the rollout plan. But the main thing was to get it on the radio and to get it in rotation on BET.
When you think about that time, I mean, when you look at how y'all did it, Reggie, because this was literally guerrilla warfare in terms of grassroots growing it. So you all really had to get out and meet the people and do what it took in terms of really getting into the DJs and everything. When you think about it now, how do you feel about how music is marketed today as opposed to how you all did it?
Well, it's easier because of social media. It appears. I don't know how in the hell they're keeping track of what they're selling and all of that with their streaming and downloads and all that. Mm-hmm. They say they have a system. I can't believe the system. Everybody I hear that's in the system saying they're getting cheated. But
right. We want to get your opinion on this too, but please keep going.
But my whole take is, hey, we can wake up tomorrow and find out that somebody dropping an album, and it'll be it's out there. You know, right. They just wake up, don't drop an album today. We're gonna release the music today. Where back in the day, shit, it took you 3 months before you better have a 3 or 4 month plan before you put out a single. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
there's no video, no street single,
nothing. Just hey, Taylor Swift dropped the album, or Beyonce dropped the album, Drake dropped the album last night. What?
Now,
so it's different.
We going into the rollout and everything. Hey, I was gonna say this, T.
Yeah.
So we in the stage of 1996, and Dr. Dre leaves the label. Now, do you think Suge could have ran the label without Dr. Dre?
Well, he did. Ultimately, he did. If you saying if he didn't go to prison, I'm pretty much saying. I mean, where the Death Row failed at was because people believed, and we wasn't smart enough or didn't care enough to stop the narrative that was out there that Tupac mainly and artists was being cheated out of money. Mm-hmm. Everybody thought Suge Knight was the biggest comeback, biggest crook in America at that point. And people turned on the company. And that was so far from the truth. Even, the people say, well, that's why Feedy had to sue and all of that. Well, that was just business. But they got it worked out, and they got back in business and started doing business together. And I think that was the downfall, that we didn't do a big enough press release to let people know that Afeni's good, and that nobody was cheated, or at least that Tupac wasn't cheated. And that's where I think we dropped the ball, and that's why I think Suge failed. But as far as the producer, Dre was a hell of a finisher, but I think Quick could have did just as good of a job. I think he had a boy named L.A. Reid to do all Too Short stuff that was coming on board. L.A. Dre, I'm sorry, L.A. Dre. He could have did it. There was other people that could have did it. I don't think Suge could have did it. Got there and do the finishing work that Dre did as far as mastering and having the ear. But there were people. Daz ass could have did it. We could have kept his head right. Kept him off of those drugs and stuff. Daz could have done it. So, and I think if Suge was home, he would have cultivated and found the right guys to keep them in the studio to finish their projects to the Death Row standard. But
I didn't have. I ain't asked. I got to ask this question here too. Then you can go on, T, because this just slipped me right here. Now I never been able to ask any of the Death Row alumni this question. Now, what made you guys change the name from Death Row to like the new and Untouchables Death Row?
The Untouchables is because those niggas was watching all those Godfather movies, those Goodfellas movies. Tupac and Suge was obsessed with that, and with that those mobster movies and shit. But I thought you were going to ask about the Row and Death Row, and I'll tell you the story of the Row part. The Row came from. We had a lawsuit, and with corrupt. With the guys with the Broomfields, and they said that Corrupt was signed it down first and all of that. And so we got a $10 million judgment from the jury. And the jury is like, we just want to put y'all out of business. We talked to them at the end. We just don't like that way because this was after 9/11 and 2001. America was we was on some bullshit back then. Everybody was being nice and soft and shit, right? And so they said, we just don't like the word death. And if that guy is smart as y'all said he was doing the trial and stuff, when he come home from prison, he'll start up another company and he'll get back rich again.
Right.
But we giving y'all this $10 million judgment, so y'all can go out of business and go away since y'all saying, because how you claim you don't have no money and all of that stuff. Then they figure $10 million judgment will put us out of business, right? So the judge knocked it down to $4 million, said, oh, that's crazy, and all of that. So I went back and told Suge what happened. And he was like, all right, we'll get rid of the name Death and just call it The Row. And that's why he came up with the 4 minute. That didn't last long. He even talked, if y'all know this, that's why even Murder Inc. dropped it, because they were going through their RICO and all their bullshit at the time. They dropped off the word murder and with the ink. It was just the record labels and the people that was running it, the big corporations was now taking over all of the independent companies was all gone. Priority was with Capital. Interscope was with that water company, Vende or whatever that was. It just all went corporate. And we went through something for a minute. Just to answer your question. But but I know your thing was the Untouchable. That was just from Mobster. That was just from that damn Mobster movie, watching too many Mobster movies.
That's wild, man. But when you talk about the academics of it, Reggie, you're speaking on something that is very, very, very poignant and urgent.
Man, where are you educated from? Where in the hell are you educated from? Where you go to school?
Look, my mother's listening right now. My mother's on air right now. Love her dearly.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay. No, Reggie, it's okay because my mother was an English major and she's a doctor.
Okay.
In education.
Okay.
So
shout out to moms. They did a great job raising you. You're very well spoken.
Yeah, my mother.
I have never spoke to this gentleman before in life, and I picked up on it just in we've been on an hour now, and I was like, damn, this brother's smart.
Hey,
but go ahead.
Yeah, man. But
that's why I get it from.
Yeah, but I get it from my mom and my dad. And my dad from the country, we call that horse sense. So my family, we got lawyers, doctors, teachers. It's
okay.
Yes.
Okay, but you tell all their education. Where you get yours from? Where are you educated at?
Got to go back and finish it, but shout out to the Green and Gold, the great Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia, and of course,
Norfolk, College. HBCU school, okay.
Yes, sir. Love my HBCU.
Okay. Yeah, that's my biggest regret in life. I sent my son to UC San Diego. Had all type of scholarships at all the black colleges. Everybody wanted him to come in the engineering program. I mean, I still owe $100,000 on scholarship sending him to the white people's school, but I wish I would have sent them to the HBCU schools. Didn't know much. We're in California. We don't know much about them out here.
Ain't nothing like it. Tell the youngest.
Those experiences.
Yeah. I wish.
King is in North Carolina. I'm in Virginia. We got a ton of them between our states. Tell all your kids,
Yeah.
tell everybody, all the youngins in California, come out here to down south to the East Coast. We got
Yes.
a bunch of them. You know,
HBCU culture is beautiful.
yes, it is. Ain't nothing like it. It is,
Yes.
man. I
Maybe
cannot.
have a maybe with the Fairview or somewhere like that and have a Fox girl now. What they call them, Fox ladies or something.
Man, look, shout out to all the HBCUs, North Carolina, A&T, Fisk,
Yeah.
Morehouse, Howard. I mean, you know, it's smash. We just love our HBCUs. We love our people. I mean,
Well,
yes.
shout out to your family. Yes.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. When you think about it, Reggie, in terms of how the industry moves, and how things have changed so much. I mean, all the absorptions in terms of the companies becoming these conglomerates. What have you seen change about how these labels do business now as opposed to then?
Well, now they lazy. They just. I still have a little connections where people always say, Reggie, can you give me a deal? Give me a deal. Yeah. I'll be like, yeah, sound good. Sound great. Great job.
Right, right.
What's your social medias like? That's all I want to hear. How many streams you got? How many followers you got?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm still working on that. Well, when you get it up to 50,000, 100,000, call me. I can help you out. They lazy. They don't want to do. They want you to already build something, did something, have it halfway there, and then they're ready for you. I had a guy. I heard a song, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this guy is hot." About 6, 8 months ago, his name was Chef Boy. He got this song called Gangland, Gang Bang, and I heard that song, and I was like, "Whoa!" And so I
I
sent
know what
it
you're
to
talking
him.
about too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
With the
sent it
gang
to
bang
him.
banging.
The label
Yeah.
they were
They had
like,
a video
"Great."
Yeah, had a video challenges and everything.
Oh man, he did a great job with social media. I mean, eventually,
Yeah.
but at the time when I got on it, it wasn't there. And I'm like, man, this shit gonna blow up.
Right.
And they were like, well, let us know when when it get there. By the time it come back, oh man, we want that. Man, he already done did a little deal with somebody, and he making that $5, $6 an album himself, with a distribution company, and he don't work it. He not interested now. He said, you can help me get a publishing deal, Reggie, but I ain't signing no label. I'm like, see, but that's the problem. They lazy. They want you to go out and work it, build it, then they want to pick you up.
And it's crazy.
And did you make that transition? Now you making that? Did you make that transition into learning the music part when Suge was locked up, like and working with the
everything? OJT on the job training, didn't know anything. I have to give all the credit to Suge Knight for for giving me the exposure to learn what I learned in the business. Yes.
Yeah.
And another question I want to you too, because I asked the realist this too. He told me to ask you this a while back. Do you have that version of "Gotta Be Gangsta" with DMX on there? We gotta hear that, man.
I don't remember doing any work with DMX. I know I sent it to him, but I don't remember if he ever sent it back. We went to I took Realist to his video shoot. You remember that one when he had all that blood on him and all that? I took the Realist up to that video shoot to meet him because Def Jam had bought one of Suge cars as lowriders for me for DMX as a when one of his albums went platinum as a little gift or like a little bonus. But I don't know if we ever got the song back because DMX was so crazy and hot-headed. He was spontaneous. You had to be in DMX face to get stuff from him. He was always preaching and reading Bible verses and shit to you.
Yeah. Dog was a different breed. He should have been a preacher. Indeed. Yeah. Dog was a different breed. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
What you were saying, Reggie, about how the labels are lazy. When we look at it, we came up in a time where talent was you really had to have something hot in the talent that was going to get you in that door. And then when you really were able to show that you could sustain it in terms of movement, that's when you were able to get the furniture in to room it how you wanted it. I guess when we look at the game now, because we're older, we love the culture, we love the music. We just see how it's different now because we have one thing about it is the rule of thumb was back in the day, if you didn't know how to rap, you didn't. You say that for the people that really put it in and made a conscious effort to really be great at it. The problem is now it's so oversaturated, everybody thinks that they can rap. And I'm like, no.
And you can. And you got to have a gimmick. I tell people all the time, you got to have a gimmick. And I'm surprised Lizzo made it as long as she did. I didn't know what she made it and how she made it off of it. And shout out to her for making it. But I would have never, back in the day, I would have never signed no Lizzo to no deal. She made it, and no disrespect, but that was what you needed. You needed, you wanted the Cardi B's or the Nicki's or something like that. I still don't see how Sexy Red call herself sexy, but so that show you how I'm messed up because my thinking is sex sells. You needed how Biggie did Little Kim and all of that, and Eve and all. You needed them to look like that to come out, and that's just to show you the difference with how the times from the 90s is different than today's thing. I just think the gimmick is what you got to work. Like the little Nas X or how they come out. Kendrick with I'm about to say Kendrick with the disc, but Kendrick was big before the disc.
Yeah, absolutely. Section 80, from the first album.
Yeah, I still say that. Please, bitch, don't kill my high. Don't kill my high. I love that verse.
Yeah. But when we look at it though, Reggie, and King, when we think about, because what you said about Lizzo, I think aesthetically for where Lizzo, and while we're on the show, we always want to be honest, but we never want to say anything incendiary, but we do like to speak our mind in terms of what goes on. Lizzo probably for where she was at a certain point, because for all of her crazy antics, and
no disrespect to Lizzo, let me clear it up. I don't want to come off like that homosexual.
No. I get what you're saying. Yeah, but she's talented. I mean, the girl, really, when you break it down, the girl is talented. She did a lot of stuff over the top. I think that from my personal view, she didn't have to, because to me, the talent was already there with her. But she was trying to.
But when she got noticed without the gimmick. Without the gimmick.
Yeah, but even when, and I know this is tricky treading water on this, when we were talking about the aesthetics of her weight and everything, she was not, maybe, I think, because there's always been women who were bigger in the industry, so we're not talking down on
Missy Elliott. You remember they used to cover up Missy back in the day. They used to put her in like blow up dolls and stuff like that, because Missy was talented as hell. She was writing out everything that she did for Aaliyah and that little crew. But they hid her weight and her overweight. They made it like put her in like a bubble and stuff like that all the time. If you go back and look at her videos, you very rarely saw her body.
Shout out to Missy representing Portsmouth, Virginia.
That girl's a hell of a writer.
Because her uncle was my high school assistant principal. Shout out to Bentley Harrell. Good guy. You met her some years ago when I used to work at Foot Locker. Great girl. Have nothing bad to say about Missy. She is a dog.
Talented.
She met. Look. So she was in it. So for our listeners that don't know, who may not know the history, she was in a group called Sister that was out of Portsmouth, and they had a song called Brand New. I believe it was produced by Devontae Swing.
Rochester boys, the Rochester,
yeah. And the thing was, shout to DJ Gary 910, and we appreciate that. You said Lizzo had a small history with Prince before his death. If you want to give us, if you want to drop it in the comments what it was, we appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. But the thing is,
shout out DJ Gary. DJ Gary is a big supporter of DJ Quick. He don't let me talk about DJ Quick, because then he'll start tearing me up. He loves DJ Quick.
Tell Gary we want him on the show so he can talk about his history too. Gary, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, but the thing is with Missy was that girl that in the industry at the time they didn't think fit the mold. You know, she was bigger, she was dark skinned, but nobody knew that this girl was going to become one of the greatest ever. To me, in terms of the modern day MCs, she's in my top 5.
Oh,
I have her,
female and male, both.
In female rappers, she's in my top 5.
Okay,
she's
female.
In my top
okay.
5. Female rappers, she's in my top 5.
Okay.
I have her up there with Rhapsody, Jean Grey. I mean, you know, but Missy, she's in my top 5. She is phenomenal. And she, for what I understand, negotiated her own deal with MCA Records back in the day for the Gold Mine label.
Well, I don't know if it was MCA or with my girl, because her and Sylvia Rome had a great, and I think Sylvia was running somewhere else.
Okay, got you.
But it was Sylvia Rome that really took care of her.
Understood.
And was it Atlantic? I think she was running. I think it was Atlantic Records, Sylvia.
It was Atlantic or MCA. It was
Atlantic
MCA.
Yeah, it wasn't MCA, but yeah.
Okay, got you.
But Sylvia ended up with MCA, I believe. But it was somebody else. But shout out to Miss. Yeah.
She's phenomenal. When you look at how the music in terms of when you're talking about social media and everything, when we look at how the marketing is different, you being, and we want to come back to your reference point in terms of being law enforcement, you all had some issues with a lot of people in the streets of Death Row. That's well documented. But it was a situation more or less that it was a lot of times we didn't necessarily know it unless it really became public. We have artists out here that are making their beefs public with other people.
We live in a different time.
Yeah, and getting killed because of it.
It's social media, man. Social media.
Yeah. Please,
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, man.
Give us your indulgence, Reggie. Give us your opinion, please. We want to.
No, I just say social media. We always love the pillow talk, bro. We always love telling why you do something if you can't brag about it. But now we got a bigger platform other than telling our women about it, our girls pillow talking. Now we have social media, and it's easy. You know why did I kill Michael if I can't tell nobody I killed Michael? I want people to know I killed Michael. I remember an episode of The Sopranos where Christopher wanted everybody to know he was a gangster. He was the one putting in the work and stuff like that. And Tony had to tell him and say, man, would you stop? What, you gonna get yourself in prison? You keep, he was going buying up all the newspapers and everything. Wanting everybody to know he did this and did that. And we caught up in social media though. Every weekend.
And it got worse now when people found out ways to monetize it. You know the fuckery is on steroids now.
They don't even care about the shine, man. And they just care about the shine. They don't care about the gold. They don't care about the gold. They don't care. They just want the shine, man, just to be known.
Okay, so we got to hit you with this curveball, Reggie. Death Row, if social media was in the 90s with Death Row, what would it have been like?
Oh, man. I don't, because we had all the trades. We had the magazine trades on lock.
Right.
Suge was the charismatic guy. If you ever listen to Suge, and you don't hear and know all the bullshit, you would be like, you would love Suge, Tupac, if you could get Snoop to talk like he talked now, I don't think Snoop talked as much back then, It would have been interesting. I think we get to know people. I'll put it this way. Kobe Bryant was my favorite basketball player over LeBron, Michael Jordan, and all of them, right?
Rest in peace to the Mamba and Gigi and Little Mamba. Rest in peace, Big Mamba,
Yeah,
Little Mamba. Yes, what a loss. What a
my
loss.
favorite. But once I got to hear Kobe talk and stuff like that, I didn't like Kobe. Now, how he used to treat his teammates like Smush Parker and stuff like that, I didn't like him.
Right, right,
But now I hear all the stories of players talking about him in his, after he died. I feel like, damn, I didn't know that about Kobe. And I'm starting to
right,
like him more, even personally.
right.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing where, you hear a little bit or when you get to hear full stories told by people. So I think I might have to lean with the social media days. Yeah, I think I have to live with the social media days versus the
But
non-social media days.
but it's
And
crazy.
we talking about this space of social media. What made you start the Bomb First channel?
Well, that was actually already there, but what made me start coming on it a lot more and often was because I started seeing the narrative, and I was letting the white men run with narratives on there about me, and I was like, "What the hell? These people? Who are they? What are they? They saying what?" And then I have a son that's a third, and I was not responding, or nobody knew anything, never heard my side of the story. And so now my kids, my daughters, and everybody was old enough to start reading, and they were like, "What? Why people are saying this about you, Daddy? What's this?" And I said, "You know what? I need to get out there and start clearing this stuff up." And then I caught the bug too. I'll be I'll be I'll be the first to admit it. I caught the social media bug too. And then I caught COVID in 2020, and I've been recovering from that since, going on 5 years. Actually, it was 5 years on the 9th, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and or whatever, however many days ago. I caught COVID, and I've been recuperating from that. And so I've been having a lot of times on my hand. And so this has also been a lot of therapy for me the past time, and to get over dealing with while I'm going through my therapy and trying to get back right. So
And I mean,
yeah,
God bless that you still with us, man. I mean, we wouldn't
yeah.
have it any other way. When you think about it, Reggie,
Excuse me.
how important is it? Because I think the most important thing we can do with podcasts and social media, when done right and responsibly, and with integrity and character, we get to tell our stories. We get to dictate the narrative. We get to be candid with our truth that is authentic, and not somebody giving an artificial insemination of what their presentation is.
This is me and my boy James' biggest fight.
Uh-huh.
My boy James just started a channel, Mobbing with Mob James, right?
Yes, sir.
And James and I were, James is taking with the social media on a positive tilt. Don't want to talk negative, don't want to, just want to be positive and all of that. And he's speaking well, bringing on educated people and sharp brothers and positive men and all of that. They lucky if they get 1,000 views.
Right.
My whole point to that is you got to have a little bit of the BS, unfortunately, and do the clownery and the effery to get the people attention. So then you can go ahead and put across the good parts, so you can get those views. Because if you're saying good stuff and only, if he's really just trying to help one or two persons, then that's another thing. But if you're really trying to get your message out there, unfortunately, you got to do some of the BS a little bit. It's because unfortunately, that's what people want to hear. They don't want to be. They don't want to hear positive stuff. I guess if you want to hear, and that's why I tell people, well, if you want to hear something positive, Joe Osteen got a nice segment up right now. You know, but you go over there and check that out.
Well, the funny thing about it though, with Reggie, with what we've done, especially what we've been blessed to do with Off the Cuff Radio, this is King's baby. You know, we all are just part of the co-parents with it. What we've always tried to do on our show is we always tell our we're gonna tell, we keep it positive, but we're also gonna tell our listeners the truth. One thing about it, we may get wild and crazy like Saturday Night Live and Steve Martin, but we're never ever going to get out there to run anybody down. We're never out here to talk crazy. We're not like a certain podcaster who, if you go on the show, you might risk going to jail, getting indicted for something.
Who are you talking about? Who you talking about? Who y'all talking about? Seriously.
Well, yeah, we not gonna out him on the show, but
oh man, I've been away. I've been off the line for a while. I gotta make me have to go research who y'all talking about now.
But he gets people to open up on his show. They tell everything, and we're like, but he be getting people sent to jail. All like, well, we don't tell the people to go on the show.
Y'all talking about Vlad? Let me just say this. Y'all talking about Vlad, and let me just say this about. And people ask me about that all the time because me and Vlad are close. We talk probably once or twice a week.
Gotcha.
Let me just say this. We all grown men. Nobody sitting outside his door or in the studio with a gun saying, "You better say this."
Right.
You better say this.
Like, look,
if you
man,
if you stupid enough to say something to get yourself in trouble, that's on you.
It's funny, and the thing is though, and we say that in jest because because that's the thing. But one thing I can say about Vlad, I've seen Vlad do great interviews. I mean, the dude. When I tell people, when you go on his show, Vlad is going to have his information. He's a journalist. This is what he does. Yeah. So he's going to do his job. And that's one thing I respect about Vlad. We respect him because he actually does his job. Now he's going to hit you with some curveballs. And I tell people.
That's on you.
Exactly. You don't have to
swing
at him.
That's on you.
I've had artists that I know. I have artists that I know. They would tell me, "Hey, man, I get the kids to go on Vlad." I'm like, "Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. He gonna hit you with some curveballs. He gonna go in your background. He gonna know if you stole candy from the second grade. He know all that."
But one thing about it is that's
and I think,
but no, but that's good. No, that's okay. But that's a microcosm of it, Reggie, because I think when we look at it, everybody wants to get out there to validate themselves as a certain level of what they feel is this level of danger, to give credence to an authenticity, to present themselves as this nefarious figure that is this big shadow, whether clandestine or publicly known. And I tell people, not everything you've done is everything that people need to know. And we see this sometimes when people get on they want to get out there and disclose everything. I'm like, one thing about it is,
because they get caught up in they want to be truthful.
Right.
Because you can tell when somebody lying or covering up something. So they get caught up in that pressure. And then you get caught up in the pressure of you're getting paid, and so you don't want to mess up that, especially when you go on channels like that. You don't want to mess up that bag, and now you figure, oh, he ain't gonna pay me because now he think I'm lying, or he definitely ain't gonna bring me back and all of that. So you have all of the different pressure. But the main thing is though, people really want to tell. I knew that as a cop. People be dying to tell you. They want to tell you what they did. They want to tell it. They want to tell it.
Yeah. I mean,
people want to tell it.
But one thing about it, though, whether perverse or altruistic, people want to be acknowledged. And whether they're scammers or they're sincere, people just want to. It's like the situation, and I can speak on this because it was a public situation. You familiar with Gregory Jeremy and the whole Florida A&M fiasco, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the dude that said that he had $237 million of stock that he was going to donate, and they found out it wasn't even but there somebody said something when they were, for the story, and they were interviewing different people, and one person said he's just a person that wants to feel important.
Well,
And you
attention.
have people, yeah, and he just wants to be around people who he feels are important to validate. And when you have people who have certain elements, they want to try to feel like that from us for whatever they disclose, that it has somehow made them viable in a public conversation of relevance. And this is what people don't understand. Some conversations need to be kept in behind closed doors. And even then, the best conversations, depending on what it contains, are better silenced. Sometimes no noise is better than whispers, period. And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah. Sometimes, you learn. Keefy D gonna teach us. Sometimes it's best to go in. Y'all talk to me in September. Make sure I come back in September. They gonna be like, I don't think running your mouth and then trying to say in your line is going to work, huh?
We talked with somebody.
You said that.
One of our homies, we won't say his name on air, but we talked with him about that situation. And he said they basically were trying to tell him in so many words, like, dude, stop talking, because,
I try to tell him. If anybody, I tell him to shut up. Who's ready? Who is? What he working with? Okay. It's all right. I don't know you. I don't like you, but you better shut up, nigga. They came knocking on my door. They investigating this shit again.
Oh Lord, they came. Ooh, okay.
I told them I did an interview. I showed the cops knocking on my front door on my Ring camera. And he didn't want to believe it.
Then he was talking about, man, Puff, why you gonna look out for me? You can make my $1 million. All right, that money gone, brother. That money gone.
But on stuff like that, he was just trying to be funny. That was the bad thing about it. He wanted everybody to know that. There, go back to when I tell you want people to know.
Right.
But then he was trying to make a mockery of it as well and be funny, because I guess I don't know him. I swear I don't know anything about him. But what I get is he's kind of a class clown as well. As far as making people laugh and being funny. Yeah,
but the thing,
that's what I get from it.
But to be serious about it, though, y'all, I think when we look at what Pac's death meant in terms of how it literally, because we know people that are close in that circle with him. We know people that knew him personally, and the devastation his death brought in terms of, because that's a loss. Next year it'll be 34 years since Pac's been gone, and
no, not that long. Not that long. No. Yeah. It'll be only 30 years. 30 years.
Yeah. But it's like we think about it and we just think about what could have been, and it's like, but then you got somebody who it seems like he's only relevant when he talks about it. I'm like, dude, leave it alone. Correct. Leave it alone.
That's where I go with that word shine, where I want to shine. And then he needed a little bit of money. He was doing bad. He was, so and this social media, you get on the right platforms, you can make a quick $3,000, $3,500 for a 2-hour interview,
Yeah.
That's doctor money an hour,
Yeah.
It's not smart money, but it's money, and it put out some fires for you,
Yeah, but then you put out some fires, but then you got a whole damn inferno.
He honestly thought that he had an immunity agreement, I believe. And he didn't understand the difference between an immunity agreement and a proffer agreement.
Now you're an officer, so you can tell our audience the difference, because that's what we had. I think that's the elephant in the room that needs clarification of what it was. Because this is what's always been speculated. It's what you said about the immunity agreement. What was actually the arrangement in this whole situation?
It was a proffer agreement. So proffer agreement is given to a person where if I suspect you of a crime, I can bring you in and say, you know what? You tell me everything about this particular crime. Tell me everything. I can't use this against it. I'm not saying that you're not going to be prosecuted, but I can use anything you tell me about this crime against you. I can't use it. If you come in there and bring the gun and say, here's the gun I shot him with, I can't use it. It's no good now. That's what go ahead.
It's a crazy reference point. Are you familiar with the show The Shield?
Oh, Big Mackey, one of my favorite. He tore him up at the end. Didn't you love how he went out? But see, he didn't have a proper agreement. He had an immunity agreement. Okay.
That was immunity. Okay, so that was the difference.
That's immunity.
They said, because they said if we find out something you did that you ain't tell us, we nailing your ass.
We can use it against you.
Yeah, but
he told them everything. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. But that's called a blanket. What he had was a blanket. He had a blanket immunity agreement. Okay. Where he could tell every crime he ever did. And they going to not be able to prosecute you against it. That's immunity. When you just say, hey, we know you did this, but we're going to give you immunity where this could never be brought up against you. Or you can never be charged or arrested for this. That's immunity for this particular crime or whatever. But he had what you call a proffer agreement, where it was, now, if Keefe wouldn't have did that proffer agreement, he would have been in jail because he had a case. He had a case that they were going to put against him. They would have got him 25 years to life because they had bought some Sherm from him. So PCP and PCP, under the federal guidelines, carry up to 25 to life. So that was his benefit to do the proffer agreement. Now, whether he's saying he was coached or lied, that's going to be his defense. That's going to be his defense. Oh, I was coached. I was lying. I just told them what they wanted to do, so I won't have to go do this 25 years to life. But what people don't know is, and this is what people that always said, if he went and told that story again without a proffer agreement or immunity agreement. And people always say Greg Cadies was dirty and this and that. Without Greg Cadies, with some Vegas cops.
Yeah.
Now, and told this story. Then he wrote a book. then he went on different YouTube channels and told these stories. Now,
man, thank you for clearing this up. Keep going.
So what a defense attorney is going to have to do is they're going to have to get all of this dismissed in what you call motions, motions to get stuff dismissed. So they got to get that Vlad interview dismissed. They got to get that book dismissed. They got to get that BET dismissed. They got to get Arthur Dialogue dismissed. They got to get the Vegas investigation, interview dismissed, and then they got to get the Greg Cadies thing dismissed. They got to get all of that.
Good Lord.
Because, so just think if they don't, okay. So all of us on YouTube, we all watch Law and Order, and we all know law and police and all of that.
Right.
But surely us motherfuckers on YouTube ain't the ones sitting in the jury boxes, right? It's usually some old white folks that work with your mama at the school district and all of that. And so they go in here, and then the DA going to play all the interviews. They're going to play all the interviews and read passages from the books and all of that. And they're going to hear that, and they're going to hear him talk to some detectives that are going to explain him things from Vegas and LAPD. And they're going to explain, they're going to hear all of that. And so the old white folks and the people are going to be like, but his defense attorney going to be up there saying, well, he was just lying. He was just lying, making this shit up because he was able to get money from YouTube. And all of that. They're going to be like, huh? YouTube, it wasn't no YouTube in 2009, 2012. Hey, nobody was paying for interviews then. Okay, so they're going to have to, cross that field. But the main thing is, the people going to be like, is he crazy? Is he a special ed student or something like that? And they're going to say, no, he ran a drug empire. Is what the DA going to say. He was all of this. He's not dumb or illiterate. And so he said all of this stuff. And so the people on YouTube want y'all to believe that those people in the jury box going to be like, oh, well, he's not guilty. Man, Keefy D would never once those things don't get kicked out of court, they will never go to nobody's trial.
Gotcha.
If the judge don't kick all of those. Now, only way he have a chance, you might, if you get the judge to kick out all those different motions, all those different things I said, and say, oh, you can't use it. I can't see no judge doing that.
But the thing is, this is all public, and they say to Miranda, anything you say can and will be used against you.
Yeah.
So,
but and he also was giving a Miranda when he gave those two interviews to the detectives and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, but it's all public information. I mean, it's on the airwaves. I mean,
yeah,
it could go. It's here. I mean, you could say hearsay and conjecture, because but the fact is, it's in terms of what has actually been disclosed. This is
now you can get it omitted from court. You can get omitted from being playing in court. That would be my way of going it, but I don't see how a judge would allow that to happen. It'd have to be a strong defense. But I'm not here to try to get the nail the hammer the nail in the old Keefy D, because I kind of feel bad for the brother. I just think he was just an idiot. I don't think he retarded. But this stupid got caught up. Just wish he would have kept his mouth quiet.
Yeah, hey guys, hey T-Man, check this out. This is a good laugh right here. They just popped up on my news feed.
Okay.
It says here that Diddy plans the Christmas celebration behind bars with fellow inmates.
I mean, his commissary.
Yeah, Christmas. You're gonna have a New Year's Eve party too. You're gonna have New Year's Eve
popping.
They give out the BOP give you out a bag every year right about this time. Where they give you, because a lot of brothers in there don't get commissary and stuff like that. A lot of people, their family members have forgot about them, or they just disown their family, and they refuse to work or whatever, can't work because of their thing. So a lot of people don't have money on their books to go to the store. But BOP this time of year give you a big bag full of a lot of stuff, an apple and an orange and some caramel popcorn and all type of stuff. So they get a nice little Christmas bag this time of year from the BOP. So maybe they talking about that. I don't believe that, they talking about he paid for a turkey dinner and all of that. Man, they gave you a nice Cornish hen deal. The Cornish Hill. You got your own hen for Thanksgiving and all of that. So, and they're not going to let nobody just bring no food in there, no big spread. Not even at a camp or, a low. So a lot of stuff to be coming out. It's unfortunate this false information from,
Well, I mean, given the circumstances that he's in, we just speak as journalists from a perspective of non-bias. We would just say mostly that whatever, obviously with the publicity that has not been good, and then a subsequent guilty, finding him guilty verdict, and then of course the documentary that's out right now. which 50 did not produce. We got to put that out there because everybody thinking 50 is like just no.
Nah,
This
they
is
just
not
use his
50's.
name. Yeah, they just
This
use
is
his
not
name.
50's documentary. This was already in the works well before 50 got in. He's executive producer, which means he may have handled some business aspects, but this is
Yeah,
not his. This is not
yeah.
his. So we have to clarify that. If we're gonna tell the
They
story, we're
use his
gonna tell
name just
all of
like
it.
Power.
Yeah.
Just like on Power. Everybody give him credit for the Power show. That lady was writing all of that stuff. I can't think of her name right now.
Agbo.
But what's her name?
Courtney Agbo. Courtney Agbo.
Courtney. Yes.
Yes,
Her
sir.
name was
Yes, sir. Courtney Kemp
Courtney
Agbo.
Kemp?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Courtney
Kemp
Kemp. That's
Agbo.
it. Yes.
Yeah, so but we want to make sure that for clarity people understand all of this. But yeah, I mean, but Puff given the obviously he needs as much positive publicity, if that's possible, that he can get right now. So we just gotta take it for what it
Yeah.
is. But I guess we're about to close shop. Reggie, this has been absolutely incredible.
Before we wrap it up, I gotta stay T. Before I wrap it up, I got a
Yes, sir.
question submitted to me.
Sure.
And
Go ahead.
Fans want to know, did you have a part in correlating the Tupac greatest hits?
Yeah. Actually, yes. Thanks for asking. It was an easy one. That was an easy album. The only thing I really could take credit for is fighting with Suge to get Changes, because he did not want the song Changes out. Number one, because it was produced by Trackmaster, some East Coast dudes.
Okay.
He felt the guy that sung on the hook should have been somebody like Danny Boy or somebody that was associated with him. But mainly because, if y'all don't notice, two of those verses, his own Changes, were out on Haven't Got a Ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah.
But I told him, Suge, I don't care what you saying, what you talking about. That song is a hit. And it's going on that album. And it's going to push the album, and that's going to be the single. And he was like, whatever,
And it
I don't
did.
give a fuck.
And it did.
Yes, I believe that's what made it sell 3 million in the first month or two. That kept us alive. I think our royalty checks, our first royalty check after we got a $3 million advance every quarter was like between $400,000 to $500,000
Good Lord.
for about 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Because it was all easy money. Because what happened is we contribute 10 songs, and then the estate or Interscope, the songs that he was on prior to coming to Death Row, contribute 10 songs, and then we each contribute 2 new songs each from our catalogs, and that's what made the total of 24 songs.
Okay, so we got to ask you this. What did you find in terms of how being an executive in the record industry works when you were pretty much running Death Row? What did you find in terms of the day-to-day operations and how and what their responsibilities entail?
Yeah, see, I take a lot of credit that I maybe shouldn't, because I'm gonna be honest, I leaned on Suge a lot. I was able to go talk to him and all of that, and run stuff by him. Suge, for the first 2 or 3 years in jail, he didn't give a fuck. He was just like, y'all get any news of when I'm coming home? What David's saying? And so it'll be hard. I'll be like, Suge, I need you to give me an answer. They want to do this or do that. Oh man, David didn't call you. So a lot of the conversations went like that for the first 2 years, 3 years. And so it was hard. I eventually get an answer from him. But luckily I had 4 days to see him. And so a lot of time I would be like, Jimmy, I'd be in the call, what did Chuck say? What do you say? I'll find out tomorrow. He didn't really answer because he would distract me and move to another subject so quick, and I'll be forgetting. So it was hard because this nigga didn't care. He wanted to come home. He was like, it was 9 years for some bullshit. It was hard. That was a hard pill to swallow for that man. So I understand it now.
Right.
But later, as things will keep going and things would seem to be getting better, and we're getting more independent and all of that. Then he started being, and he got settled in, with the prison life and all of that. he would be be able to answer questions more and all of that. So I say all that to say I had a great consultant, just like he had one with Dick Griffey,
Yeah.
and people like that. I was able to consult and pick his brain a lot on a lot of stuff. And so, like I said, OJT, on the job training. Uh, so that'd be my best thing. Just learning, talking to David Kenner, who I was told not to talk to. Just let him concentrate on getting my ass out of jail, but picking his brain. And then Brian Turner, who's the CEO of Priority Records at the time, and Jimmy Iovine. They would know that they knew my history, so they might have been trying to run a little bit of game. But I get to play and talk to all of them, and then I had an assistant in there that worked for Suge the whole time by the name of Roy. That I run stuff by. So the good thing about it, I was able to run stuff by a lot of people. I didn't have to act like I knew things, and then I was good at running things by people, and then making a decision, and then throwing an ideal to Suge, and then he would always have some way to add something to it or to change the game, fuck up the game, something. He would do something, but it'll always happen. I'll say, hey, we need to tell them we want 300,000. You tell them motherfuckers you want 500, and then we get forward. I'll be like, "Damn, are you trying to kill it or what? I told you we need this 300,000. What the fuck?" But somehow he knew him. With it. Yeah, but somehow he knew how to work them, and so I always give him his credit.
Y'all was a beast with the marketing, man, because I remember with the greatest hits dropped, y'all had the song "God Bless the Dead," and we was thinking, why Tupac shot out Biggie Smalls and both them dudes dead? So that played on like the mystique behind.
Suge came up with that idea to never speak on whether he's dead or alive. Suge was, if y'all ever noticed back then, Suge never said. Then he started with the Tupac alive bullshit later on in life when he was just playing. But even back then, he just said, we're not going to speak on it. Well, he's dead or alive. Let people make their own determination.
Man.
Yep.
But I mean, we think about everything y'all done, man. I mean, just the stories alone that we heard. I mean, it was you had to be with it to be on the road, man. I mean, it was definitely something that when we interviewed Kenya, we had a great interview with her, and she told us the stories, and it was like it just had to be a time. And she speaks highly.
Shout out Kenya. Kenya personality has always been the same. The way she is now, she was in the 90s. Cool chick.
Yes, she is. My big sister, our big sister. Love her dearly. Yes. Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely something that so when you look back at everything to where you are now, where you were then, what have been the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way?
Lessons. I go in and out. Lessons. The best thing is just, loyalty, honesty, and don't bite the hand that feeds you. But the main thing is just try to keep it real. Have a good character with everything you deal with when you try to dealing with people and stuff like that. Just treat people with respect and character, because you never know how they can come back and help you. Jimmy Iovine told me that one time. I was doing shit for Suge, terrorizing Jimmy Iovine and stuff like that. And he looked at me one day and he said, "Reggie, you don't realize," he said, "a lot of the stuff I did, I was doing to make you look good. And I wouldn't have did it for nobody else. I wouldn't even did it for Suge. But I did it because I knew it was something Suge wanted, and I wanted to make you look good." And he said, "But you did this to me, and you did this, doing this for Suge." And he said, "One day you're going to learn. It's all about just treating people with respect and treating people right, and not just trying to bully, because y'all think I fear y'all. I don't fear y'all. I like y'all.
Ooh.
The
Ooh.
things I did was because I liked y'all, not because I feared y'all. But y'all always
And
thought it was because I feared y'all.
but that goes. But you know, Reggie saying that with him, that runs both. That runs. If people can read between those lines, um,
Yeah.
people really understand what that means if you read between those lines.
Yeah.
You know, because that's basically a way of saying I like y'all until I don't like y'all. When that goodwill
Yeah.
runs out, it's going to be a problem.
And I didn't tell the kicker. He was holding my hand, was shaking my hand with a tight grip when he said it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's real because people have to understand that there's love and there's generosity until there's resentment and enmity. And people have to
Correct.
understand, do not, you know, don't go to that well to the point that you done basically done cleared everything out without putting something
Yeah,
back into it, because ultimately people, don't abuse people's good nature
exactly.
because
And I say all that and brought that story up because I didn't finish. It was mainly because so look at where him and Dre at right now, and look at
Mhm,
where me and Suge at right now. If I would have kept that relationship the way it was back in the 90s,
mhm.
I could be right there with him and Dre. Not on that level like that, but I'll be all right. I would be all right.
Right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
my
We got we
loyalty
got
to
sp-
Suge Knight
mhm.
kept me to wanna, do what Suge say. And yeah, I wonder now and I fight with myself now if loyalty or just being right by people, which one is what I want to be. I always say I'd rather be a loyal person, but loyalty is not always the right thing.
And it's always a complex thing, Reggie, because when we look at loyalty, there is a point when, and this is one thing, and we're saying this on air, we didn't want to necessarily harp on the situations with you and Suge because that's the issue with for whatever's happened, that is
Yeah,
between y'all. We're not here on the show to air out that laundry. We wouldn't
Not at
exactly.
want
all.
you airing that out.
If anything, we'll probably ask if
Mhm.
there any way of consolidation or
Right,
mending that bridge.
I
right,
love Suge
right.
like a brother. I love Suge like a brother, but I'm done with Suge.
Understood. And we know that whatever we know that the issues that y'all have had is not necessarily for public discourse. There may have been stuff said
Yeah,
publicly, but whatever it is between y'all, that is between y'all. But in terms of the loyalty aspect, I tell people when you know a situation, as long as you did not backstab the person, you have a right to
yeah,
remove yourself from something when you know it's not good. When you see that train going off the tracks, you have a right to get off. You have a right to jump off that train when you know something ain't right. You know,
exactly.
and that's not being disloyal. That's called self-preservation. As long as you not, fucking somebody over, you got a right to leave.
Yeah,
If it ain't right no more, you got a right to leave.
exactly.
So yeah, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
shout out to Spirit
Yeah,
Wonder.
man.
Shout out to Spirit Wonder always showing support. Thank you.
No doubt, man. This was
But
definitely
yeah,
a
man.
dope build, man. We appreciate Derek for making that connection with us, man. We definitely
shout
Absolutely.
out
welcome to have a
D,
part
good
two
dude,
down the
good
line.
brother. Him and my boy BC. Shout out to both of them. Yes, sir.
Yes. Couldn't do this without both of them. Derek, BC, once again, thank y'all so much. Reggie, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you
Respect.
so much again. You're welcome on anytime. Anybody from that death row tree, anybody you know in the industry, tell them come on the show. We love to have
Yeah.
them,
Just,
and
just,
chop
just
it
let me
up.
know and I'll make sure it happens. I'll reach out to
No
whoever I
doubt,
Absolutely.
man.
can.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll definitely keep in touch.
Respect. Y'all got my number now. Call me anytime.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Appreciate
All
you.
right.
God bless. Um, Much love to you and the family. Happy holidays and all that, man. And we'll be
You
in
as
touch
well.
with you.
Shout
Thank
out.
you again.
Respect off the cup radio. Love y'all intro.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. King, take us out of here, bro.
On that note, we're going to catch y'all next week. Same Off the Cup time, same Off the Cup channel. You heard? Salute to everybody that joined us. Peace.
Peace.